Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Covenant Cast. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steven, and we have a new Darth Vader spoiled from Destiny, so of course we're going to be talking about that. We've also got a Necroquake update for Champions, which I think is worth mentioning.
Yeah, I just saw it, and it was confusing, and I'm hoping you'll explain it.
We're doing some giveaways as well to a large number of people.
I think we lots of giveaways.
8 giveaways to do. And we're going to do them all, and Zach also is going to talk about playing Pokemon with his niece. So stay tuned. You ready? Are we live?
We're live.
We're doing it. Let's do it live.
We're in it.
All right. Well, worth starting with, I think, is Vader, Darth Vader. Does that actually mean Darth Father, like in Pitch Perfect?
So,
does Vader
that's kind of true, but it's false too. So,
whoa,
Vader. I looked this up because it was like this can't be real. Anyways, I think Darth does mean dark, but then it's Vader, not Vader.
Oh, well, that's close enough.
So, you know.
So it technically means Dark Father?
It's close.
So maybe there's a spoiler alert there.
I don't know. But apparently, so I actually also recently watched, there's this old, like, it's what you would get now on a Blu-ray of Star Wars, which is like the hour and a half behind the scenes, all kinds of footage from various stuff. Interviews with directors and lighting people and costume people and whatever. But
extras.
There's one for Empire Strikes Back that is hard to find, and then when it like ends up on YouTube, it's there for a minute, and then YouTube gets alerted to it and they take it down because for some reason. But they were essentially talking, and like that led me short version. That led me to another video with quotes from George Lucas, and who knows if he's telling the truth or not. But basically saying that like initially that wasn't the plan. Vader
for him
wasn't
to be a father.
Luke's father particularly.
Really?
That was after the first one came out, and then it was super popular, and then they started writing the second one. That came about in that era. But it's
well, that's absolutely
there's different sources saying different things. So
it could have been another bad decision that Lucas avoided by listening to the people around him.
Yeah, or like it could have been a really good decision that Irving Kershner, the writer, made.
There you go. Turns out writing's important in all of these movies.
Yeah, and dialogue and all that stuff. But yeah, we got a huge spoiler for Star Wars Destiny.
Yes.
We talked about it last week, which was we heard nothing forever. And then we got a spoiler article. We had some spoilers that went up, I think, since the last time we did this thing. And then they dropped the biggest spoiler article in the history of Destiny, easily.
Does everybody... So I always thought that Darth Vader was only important to you. Predominantly.
I'm glad that I like him enough to make you feel that way.
I mean, of all the things that interest me in Star Wars, just the figure of Darth Vader is like, okay, cool, it's fine. And you were always really amped about Darth Vader forever. And I didn't know that seemingly there's a gigantic number of people, particularly playing Destiny, that are equally as interested in Darth Vader. So what is the deal?
Well,
Why
I
is
think
that?
In retrospect now, right, like when we watch various movies or even when I watch the originals, there's a nostalgia thing going on. But I think a lot of it has to do with when you watch them. And I don't know how old you were when you were watching them or what kind of impression they made on you. But for me, when I was like, I don't know, 8 and watching these movies, he comes on screen, he's just awesomely powerful. So it's like, whoa. It's like big
So
threat.
those of us attracted to power might prefer Darth Vader.
Maybe. Or like to see someone just like so in control. And so like, it was like this idea that your presence was felt. You didn't have to do anything. Like he didn't have to murder anybody for people to realize that they're terrified.
Okay, so the gravitas of the figure alone was it like, I want that?
Well,
that's a little scary.
Not necessarily. It was just impressing. Okay. So it was like it left an impression on me, right? But then I watched all 3 movies in like a 12-hour period.
Oh, cool.
So it was like...
That probably explains a lot about your love of Star Wars.
A New Hope, and then Empire Strikes Back, and then we had to go to bed. I was at my uncle's house. So we had to go to sleep because it was already way later than it should have been. But that was the like end of the movie, like I am your father.
Man, how can you sleep after that?
So then you try to sleep. Next morning, it's like, hurry and eat breakfast. And it's like, hey, can we watch the next one? And then we do. So then watch Return of the Jedi. And so then like the idea that like he ends up 30 plus year spoiler alert here. I guess 40 now. Not for Return of the Jedi. Anyways, he turns at the end and saves Luke, and then it's like, oh, like there was more going on here than just like this like purely evil dude.
Yeah.
That was very interesting to me, where all of a sudden now characters in movies, and I mean it's as silly as it might sound, movies like Beauty and the Beast, where it's like you have this character at first, Beast, who's like seemingly the bad guy, and then by the end of it, it's like, well, maybe there's a reason he's a bad guy.
Little redemption story.
Yeah, so
that little context.
That was always really interesting to me, and that's why, like in the sequels, Snoke, as an example, wasn't that interesting. And Palpatine was never really that interesting to me
because they were just kind of that raw manifestation of evil and power.
And that's fine, but like just I kind of like the complex, like essentially just understanding that there's a reason people are the way they are. And like there's a history there, but there are a lot of people who really love Darth Vader.
Yeah,
and he's, on a lot of lists, he's like best villain of all time or whatever. And he was definitely different than the kind of villains you were seeing in the movies back then. I wasn't around necessarily, but so yeah, I mean,
he's a big deal.
Yeah.
So you're not the only one.
I'm not apparently the only one.
Because the Destiny, it's kind of like Destiny community is waking up, right? Because it's kind of been a long slumber.
Well, it was crazy. There's this father-son. I think I mentioned them. They moved to town probably a month or two ago, and they were big into Destiny, and now they're playing Transformers. I played some Transformers with them.
Yeah, he got wrecked by the tanks.
And last week, he was around the tanks. Last week, at our weekly Destiny night, they were like, hey, probably just going to do draft and seal from now on. Like, Destiny's kind of lost its flame. And then last night they came in, and it's like, we thought about it, we changed our mind, and then they're back. And I think that's really what's happened for Destiny, because they started posting spoilers. The release date's official now, as far as I know, November 8th. That's leading right into regional season. Stores are starting to post their regionals. We posted ours. It's in January. And not only that, but these cards are, it's a whole article about Vader, right? And for a lot of people, he's the favorite character in the Star Wars universe. So there's this insane Vader, there's his lightsaber, there's his meditation chamber, there's Vader's fist. There's upgrade or events that are really, specifically good with him. And so, but most importantly for me, I actually wrote a blog about it with some deck lists, but the kind of the second part, it's like I'm super excited about Vader, but I'm more excited about what the cards we're seeing are saying about the design of the game.
Ooh. Okay, so what does this new Vader do, real quick, for the those listening on the drive to work, on the drive home, the drive to the grocery store,
or that somehow missed the news,
or here on YouTube as well?
Essentially, he is the
pure aggro, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of the Vader at the end of Rogue One.
Yes,
is how he's supposed to feel.
Which to me is just one of the greatest manifestations, if not the best, of that figure.
Just like a horror movie, terrifying, and the trooper screaming, knocking on the window. It's a great little scene. So it's that, right? So he's got a lot of health. He hits really, really hard. If you play Destiny, he's got a 2 damage, a 3 damage, a 4 damage for 1. And then I didn't appreciate this until I started playing, but his other 2 sides are shield and resource. But they're both 2s.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It's heavy.
Paying 2 or getting 2 money, and then that is, it's really crazy. And 2
shields
is also
all you got to say to me is getting 2 money, and I know how good that is.
Yeah. So all that's great. He's got 15 health, which is the highest we've seen in the game, and also he's expensive, 23 points. But he's got a power action where essentially any character dice your opponent removes on their turn, you can take a power action to discard a card, so it's once per round, to roll those dice back in.
So did it strike you when you saw this that was acting as a kind of a nod to original Vader, who would discard a card from your opponent's hand? That was kind of now becoming the control your opponent, force power Vader, and this is the slash them down with a lightsaber Vader? Yeah, so like I said, this feels very much like the Rogue One Vader, or there's also a comic series that's incredible. It's set in between 3 and 4, and he's more like that. Yeah.
And then by episode 4, there's just not moments where he really needs to go nuts, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the original Vader felt like, where it's he's just kind of in control, and he's a presence you feel, and he can hurt you a lot, right? But at the same time, it's not like this Vader
can hurt you. It just seems cool to use the discard mechanic on both sides of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Ability. Yeah.
And I think that's what, because we played on stream. We did a stream if you want to watch those videos on YouTube and Facebook. But I also played in the store last night, and when I get paired with someone, it's well, do you want to play a legal deck, or do you want to play against the new Vader? And every time it's let's see the new Vader on the table.
Nice, yeah.
And every time I played with him, the astounding thing is the power action to roll back in makes it so unappealing to remove those dice.
Yeah.
Because in a weird way, he's attacking your hand and resources, because either you're going to let him hit you really hard, or you're going to spend cards and resources, and then I can spend a card to put the dice back out.
Yeah.
And if I do that, you have to spend more cards and resources. And because it's a power action, you can only do it once. So if they remove one die at a time, then you only get to roll one back in.
Which is what you have to do, right?
Yeah, or you have to have 2 double dice removal cards that you're willing to play in a row to really control him. So it just costs a lot to contain him. So then it's like, well, if you're not going to contain him, because he's got 4s.
Yeah, you could just swing for 8 at any moment.
Seriously. Like, it's crazy. And like, one of my favorite cards is, it's busted, it should not exist, but Price of Failure. So you kill one of your other characters, you only have 7 other points. So I was running it with a Stormtrooper. But you kill that character and then ready Vader and go again. And it's like, I should have done it last night. I had it on turn 1 where I resolved all my Vader dice, resolved my Stormtrooper. My opponent had claimed, and the only card in hand was Price of Failure. So I could kill the Stormtrooper and ready Vader and go again. And he had an upgrade on, so he max damage is like 7 or 8 at that point. And I didn't, and then my opponent was able to kill the Stormtrooper before I could play the card the next round.
Oh, yeah.
But like, the reality is, I will never get 7 damage out of that Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
In the whole game.
That's true.
So going for it then made way more sense, because like, you roll even like 2 shields of 2 resources plus my upgrade. It's like, that's still great for like the future of the game.
That's amazing, actually, to think in those terms.
But yeah, he's really crazy. And the thing it says, like I said, I'm excited about Vader, but I'm more excited about what it shows, which is the problems with the original Vader at this point were many, which is he got so many points that if your opponent could control his dice, he was never worth it. Like, even just 2 control cards across the first 2 turns is usually enough to slow him down enough. So the power action kind of fixes that. The other thing is, his health is higher, so he's lasting a little bit longer. Like, the other one would die just like a little too soon.
But didn't old Vader win like the whole thing?
The first world with one set.
That can't have been that much of a problem.
With one set. Well, so that back then, right, and I think this is why he was good, is that the average deck had 2 characters. And then now the average deck has 3 or 4.
And there's only so many control cards.
Yeah. So now there's 4 character decks with all 3 colors that run 15 control cards.
Yeah.
And so original Vader just isn't, and there's a lot of draw cards, so his automatic discard is not as good. And he can't kill that many characters that fast. But last night, I'll tell you, every game, 1 character a turn.
Just chainsawing.
Bam, bam,
wow.
Bam.
So is it everything you dreamed of? I mean, is this the Vader you play for the next year?
That's maybe. I'm excited. I mean, the thing about him is he's very straightforward. Like, he's just a murder machine.
And I like that.
And it's cool. I don't think he needs to be fancy. Like, if anyone's going to be fancy, it should be like, I don't know, Palpatine or like
How
some
much health
political.
does Palpatine have?
15.
Really? So they're the same health?
But Palpatine is expensive enough that you can't run him with another character.
Yeah. That seems to be a
Palpatine
problem.
also is nuts.
Yeah.
In the craziest way. But if you look at all the cards that are coming out, minus maybe Vader's Fist, it's the maturity of design is really there, where like they are really onto it. And like what I'm really excited about
is in the sense that you look at a card and you don't say, "Oh, this is like not good or too good." It's just everything is like, that's about right. That's about right. That's about right.
You see a card and you think, "I need to try that." You don't think, "Okay, that's no good," or "Oh my God, that is broken." Like that, you see hyperspace jump and you're like,
"Yeah,
all right, cool. Let's
put 3 in a deck." What do you think?
So that plot was another one that's like, I could go on about that plot. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm most excited because this is the 3rd set in the cycle. So one more set 7 means that sets 1 through 2 and 3 go away, and sets 1 through 3 are either the cards are so good they make the rest of the cards irrelevant, or they're an irrelevant card.
Yeah.
And you look at the example I used in the blog was like Feel Your Anger and Undermine. Feel Your Anger is pay 1, remove any number of dice equal to the number of blanks your opponent has. Undermine is pay 1, remove 2 of your opponent's blanks. Like, they're the same in the same card pool right now. You would never run Undermine over Feel Your Anger.
Right.
But to me, Undermine feels like a dialed in, restrained.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you're playing Vader and you roll a couple blanks and then they remove your Vader dice and leave the 2 blanks showing there, that's terrible.
Absolutely.
That's how you just immediately lose the game.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm really excited. And I'm most excited, again, seeing people literally go from we're kind of out to they're back in. And last night there was a group of us a couple players I hadn't seen in a while, and they're back and like they're excited. And we've only seen 30 or 40 cards. So,
yeah.
And I love draft and sealed. So.
Doesn't this ultimately get back to the hype manager position that we need to carve out over there at FFG?
I mean, just don't go 85 days without saying something. That's the craziest. It's like if you have 160 cards, and I know, just because of the way printing works in the industry, that like you have to have these printed 4, 5, 6 months out.
Yeah, quite a while out.
So like you can at least post a new card every week. Even just social media. It's like, this week's the weekly Destiny spoiler. Whoop, here's a card.
Yeah, here it is.
Because if you have, they said 3 sets a year, so you have essentially 4 months of time. 16 weeks? Like
16 cards. 16 cards, 16 weeks.
It's
Boom.
great.
It's a brand new
You don't even need a
promotional
position.
strategy.
You just need your social person to post once a week.
It's true. Yeah, let's start doing it. You know, let's see what we can do. Maybe we can do that. That's an open invitation to FFG or ANA.
Send us 16 spoilers.
If you send us, we'll do them one a week.
One a week if you're listening.
One a week.
Hey, do you want to springboard into all of our giveaways really quickly while we're on Destiny, or you want to wait till after?
You want to rock them? Let's rock these giveaways.
All right, so we got a lot. Last week on the cast, we said we were going to pick 3 Warhammer Champions subscribers, the Warhammer Champions booster box subscribers, to send a set of, was it 4 of those prototype tokens, I think?
Yes.
We're also going to pick 3 KeyForge display subscribers.
Correct.
And on the stream that we did with the Proxy and the Vader, we are going to give away 2 of these character boards that are sitting in front of us.
Prototype character boards. Almost done.
One of them is going to go to a booster box subscriber. One's going to go to a Saga set pre-order customer. So I'm going to go ahead and just kick it off with Destiny since we were just talking about it.
All right, I've got the list.
We're going to pick a random booster box subscriber. And if you're unfamiliar with that, basically you sign up a week or 2 before a set comes out, you get charged. We send you the boxes, minimum advertised price with free shipping if you get at least 2 boxes. So pretty good deal. And from time to time, we do stuff like this and give it away.
So this is for a soon-to-be-released prototype version of the soon-to-be-released Star Wars Destiny
compatible
character board. We'll call it something. Yeah, compatible character board. All right, so a random Destiny box subscriber.
And we're using the random number generator based on
atmospheric noise. Thank you, Zach.
Like
I'm glad you said so. Atmospheric noise. Random.org is where we are, by the way, in case you want to follow along at home. All right, moving over to
see what number you generate.
The number is Timothy Cahill. Timothy
Cahill. That's a weird number.
Thank you, Timothy.
You said the number is Timothy Cahill. Thank you so much, Timothy, for being a subscriber. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoy this character board.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Really, to all our subscribers, we really appreciate you supporting us.
You got no horn on that either.
Oh, wait. You need a horn? I'll get a horn. I'll give you a horn by Tuesday.
I think Timothy deserves a horn.
Hold on. I did this the other day on the stream with Jonathan.
Did you accidentally sad trombone it?
No.
That's super funny when that happens.
That's funny, though. But I have my volume off.
So I'm smashing this horn and nothing's happening.
And nothing happened. All right, wait, say the name again. What was the name?
Timothy Cahill. Thank you. Excellent. It feels powerful, doesn't it?
It does.
It's as Darth Vader as we're ever going to feel on the cast.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to a Saga set pre-order. And huge thank you to everybody who has pre-ordered a Saga set. We are almost at the end of the line for Saga sets. We have a very limited number still available, and they're going to be taken down here very shortly because we've got to move through and get all of our legwork done. So.
Yeah, actually, I mean, even by the time this goes up, we may well be out. So if you wanted a Saga set, skip the boosters, get everything automatically, I would check that out ASAP. Otherwise, good luck with the boxes.
Number generated. Going to my list.
Premature air horn.
Let's hear it for the number. All right, going to the Saga set list, and we are on...
Man, we have so many giveaways here. It's crazy town.
Andrew Brown.
All right. Do we know where he's from? What state?
Can we say that? Is that legal?
No, let's not say it. Let's just give the air horn. Or maybe we could say it and right over it.
All right, Andrew Brown, you have a soon-to-be-released Star Wars Destiny compatible character board prototype coming your way. And these will hit the market very soon. So if you guys are watching this or hearing about it at home, then you will be able to buy one very shortly.
Yeah, and if you are listening and you want to get a sneak peek at it, the stream where we proxied Vader earlier this week, we used the character board. So had a lot of questions about it while we were streaming, and was really happy to hear so many people positively responding about it.
Yeah,
and interested
definitely.
in it.
It's very cool. It's kind of a nice way to kind of just be like, is this the right direction? Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, it looks great. It's like, all right,
do
let's
the
do it.
prototype on the stream and see what they say. A little market research. All right. So who do you want to hit next? You want to do KeyForge or Champions?
Let's do KeyForge. I have the KeyForge. So I have all the KeyForge and Champions folks
Yeah, so we didn't want to do this for 12 hours. So
I'm going to run all three at once, and then we're going to horn at the end.
Okay, that
it's
sounds
like
good.
save your applause.
I do want to mention really quickly though. So KeyForge, if you have been interested in this game and are like on the fence, it's coming out November 15th.
Can I take a second to take an aside here? First of all, I like the pace that we have. I think it's a little slower than usual because everybody in the office is sick. Do you feel it? You feel like you're getting it?
Yeah. I'm coming out of it.
Okay, I might be going in.
It was like the Sunday I started medicating, and then by Monday I was feeling all right. It all started with Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put him on the podcast.
Thanks,
put him
Ryan.
on blast, on the pod blast.
I want to say while we're here that having now gone through the experience a couple of times of having these promotional decks for KeyForge that we can use to, to give away to people ahead of the game, opening them and playing them on the live stream. Okay, I know you're looking at me. You know what I'm talking about. It's like
I've had that feeling.
There's some magic in that box. There's the experience of opening that deck and just finding a relatively random assortment of cards, and just like finding out, is this something I'm going to like? Am I going to like playing? How's it going to play? What kind of mini themes are presenting here? And not even looking at the deck list and just starting to play. One of the greatest gaming experiences that I have yet experienced.
Well, I'll tell you, you weren't here on Monday, and Jonathan and I did the stream.
Yeah.
And we each opened 2 decks, and then had people vote just based on the houses and the names.
Nice.
And then I flipped the deck over and just didn't mean to really like look at the list. I just flipped it over.
Sure,
we were checking to see if there were any Mavericks, because they have little icons, so you can kind of scan without really reading. But I couldn't help but notice.
You saw the word bear.
I saw bear. There's a card called the Ancient Bear in this first set, and there's also a card called the Bear Flute, which is, I thought it was a one-time event.
All three of us now have done this at some point.
And I thought you played it, you got to search your deck for, well, if you have a bear in play, you just fully heal a bear. Otherwise, you search your deck and discard pile for any number of bears and put them into play.
All bears.
So the only time I've seen the Bear Flute is with a bear. And I was like, man, I would really love to see a deck that's got 2 bears, at least. If not,
Heaven forbid 3 bears.
Man, can you imagine like a 4 or 5 bear deck? It's just like, boom, here comes the pack.
Maybe your 8th bear is a Maverick over in Shadows or something. 9 bears.
Don't get to be hard. I didn't even know I liked bears.
9 bears, 10 bears? Can we go 11?
Yeah.
11 bears and a flute.
It's possible, I guess. I doubt that the math would let that happen. But the thing is, 2 bears and a flute. But not only that, it was literally Dees, Shadows, Untamed.
It was a nasty deck.
And it was
Control
just
the
like
Weak?
2 Control the Weeks, which is one of my...
It's where you declare a house and your opponent can only play cards from that house.
Which is really good. So in the stream game, I won't spoil it. Watch that game. Jonathan and I play. Anyways, but like the thrill of like not just seeing what's in the deck, but then making it work.
Yeah.
And figuring out
it's like the best of sealed.
How to use the various cards. If it mimics the things you get from any other card game where there's a new thing. But it's like we're talking about the new Vader earlier, and it's like part of what makes me like less interested in that Vader is the fact that I feel like everybody is going to want to explore that Vader. And so it's going to be very difficult to basically discover anything. Everyone's going to be talking about it. Everyone's going to be building decks about it.
Just stay off the internet.
Well, regardless, it's like you come to the store and someone plays it. And then
quit playing.
Well, don't
go to the store.
Doesn't work.
Don't play. You can discover as much as you want.
Don't be a part of the community. It's fine. Anyways, so like, I tend to like exploring those things where it's like this weird character people aren't playing, and how can you do it differently? But in KeyForge, it's like obviously every deck's completely different. So it's really cool, and there is an energy when you're opening those new decks. It's pretty wild.
I'll be honest, it was even cooler than I expected it to be conceptually.
I went in and it was like, okay, we're gonna open some KeyForge decks and play. That time we did it.
Yeah.
On this, I think the one you're talking about.
And then you started sweating.
Yeah. I'm sweating now thinking about it.
That adrenaline rush. You got your heart started beating.
Well, you start opening, it's like, and then what also happened is we got some promotional decks. That's how we've been playing on stream and giving them away and doing marketing with them. But we were opening a few more the ones we got from Gen Con. We've been using in the store so people can demo the game and try it out. We were opening, some being opened in earshot of me, and I was like immediately like, and I had to,
pardon me.
Walk on over there and just be like, hey, what's in this deck here? Because you just
many bears
know,
you got over there?
right? It's that same feeling when you were a kid when you didn't have all the cards and someone bought a booster pack, and it's like
It could be anything.
and not only, I don't even know what all it could be.
Yeah.
Because like the internet wasn't really a thing, or it wasn't as prominent as it is now. So like that vibe being replicated, but also at about as cheap as you can possibly replicate those vibes is really interesting.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. Anyways, if you're on the fence,
Very serious
that
about
game's
this.
coming on November 15th. If you haven't signed up for a KeyForge Display subscription, we have a lot of giveaways coming. There's a lot of stuff we're going to be doing. So if you're on the fence, the window to get off of the fence is getting very small.
Closing.
Yeah. So if you want to sign up, I recommend you do it. And
So get off of the fence already.
yeah,
Make the jump. Come into the yard.
like any good ancient bear would. Just make the jump. Okay, so let's pick three.
I've got
you
three
them. All right,
winners
so who are the
already
KeyForge?
done. The 3 KeyForge winners, and we're gonna horn at the end.
It's
of
like
all 3.
By the way, doesn't matter.
Hold your applause until the end, but
Doesn't matter how many times that's said at a graduation. I went to one this summer for my cousin. Huge stadium. It's like, please hold your applause to the end. It's like, Rachel White. And it's like, roar. It's
Rachel White's family's got to say something.
You didn't listen. You obviously weren't listening.
They just didn't care.
Yeah, they didn't care.
The KeyForge subscribers who have won a set of what's our token bag?
Prototype token bag.
Prototype token bags.
Who knows what's going to be in there?
Yeah, Julian Fiorini, Kevin Skull, who we need to talk about in a second, and Mark Turner. Congratulations, guys. Thank you so very much for being a subscriber. Now, it's important to note, actually.
One last one.
We were so tickled whenever Kevin's name came up. If you guys don't know, he does some content on a number of games, Tiny Grimes.
What do you call a name that's not your real name when you create things?
And pseudo ship.
No, that's not what it is. You know
Like
what I'm
Dr.
talking about?
Seuss?
Yeah, or didn't the lady who wrote Harry Potter have the same thing going on? Or there's someone.
Yes, J.K. Rowling. What is it? It's a pen name, clearly.
A pen name.
But there's another way to say it there. Anyway, I hope he
It's
doesn't.
not pseudonym, but it's close to pseudonym.
I hope Tiny doesn't mind, because he uses his normal name on all the Facebook groups and stuff, so I presume that it's fine.
Well, if he doesn't mind, it's too late for that. Sorry, Tiny. But yeah, he's Tiny. So I met Tiny back in the early days of the Star Wars LCG.
Yeah.
He used to do a podcast for that, and then he kind of branched off into like digital card games and some various streaming there. And he bounced back into Destiny, and then he's done some KeyForge. I think they were at least doing a podcast. I haven't seen an episode in a while. But yeah, if you haven't checked him out, you should. And he's got 2 decks coming his way. He's got tokens coming his way.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Congrats to everybody, Julian, Kevin, and Mark. Thank you guys so very much. And then finally, let's go ahead and move right into Warhammer Champions. We've got 3 winners pre-selected for this. These are our Warhammer Champions subscribers, are the people that we're choosing from here. Very simple. Sign up. You get a box or more on release, depending on how much you want to invest in the game. And all of the boxes are map pricing, $76.80 with free shipping to the U.S.
And the second set is coming last week in November.
Yeah. So again, another fence that needs to be jumped.
Here's what's crazy. It's going to be a problem. Here's what's crazy. Anytime I need a little energy, I'm just going to... I officially have my soundboard. I got that trombone
You want to do an official one? You want to turn this into like a morning show? You know, those like Zach and Steven in the morning.
You can imagine too. Imagine we each had like 4 or 5 custom things on our soundboard.
Oh, yeah.
And I just have the random like Vader breathing.
You'd have like a Hulk Hogan thing. You'd probably have a Sting, something like that.
Sting doesn't say anything.
That's right. Well, that would be the funniest soundboard
See,
of all.
Sting's like the Vader of wrestling, right? It's like,
yeah, that's true.
He can murder you, but he's probably just going to sit in the rafters with a crow. Anyways.
Just like Vader.
Just like Vader. Anyways, what were we even talking about?
Champion subscriptions.
Man.
Subscribers.
Oh, dude, speaking of Hype Machine, and not
we
the,
talking
not
about
that they're
hype
necessarily
machine?
hype machine. We were talking about Destiny earlier and how they went
Yeah.
forever without saying anything.
I don't have a hype
I
machine.
love, if you're listening to this and you're a publisher, or you know a publisher, or you've ever met a publisher, or you're ever going to meet a publisher, tell them this. The fact that you can announce your second set, before you announce it, you send information to all the people selling your game. And when you announce it, you announce the cutoff for when it has to be ordered at retail and the day that it's going to hit the street and be legal. That's awesome.
It's an amazing thing.
If you do that 8 weeks out,
it's incredible.
it's great because for a lot of reasons, right? One, if you're listening and you are into a game, knowing when you have to make a decision on whether to buy something or not is great. Retailers knowing that is great. When we want to plan local events, knowing that early is also great, right? So we just found out, I think it was yesterday, about the street date for Destiny.
Like, yeah, yesterday.
I don't even know.
I don't even know. I don't even trust it either.
But yesterday-ish, we don't even really know. It's kind of like back channel distributor maybe mentioned it to someone. No.
Yeah, I wrote it on a napkin,
yeah.
slid it across the table. I've heard.
Reminds me of that Michael Scott where he's like, write your number on the... Anyways. Have you seen that episode? I can't give you that. It's more than I make. It's like, you kidding me? Anyways, that info is questionably accurate. I hope it's accurate because I've been acting like it's accurate.
Let's say, even if it's accurate, it's awfully late.
It's 2 weeks out.
Yeah, you can't plan anything around
last
that.
night, it's so funny. Last night, because it got announced right yesterday, someone in the store is like, hey, are you guys not doing anything on the launch of Destiny? I didn't see an event on your page. And it was like, we've had 6 hours. Like, we just found out about it. We already had other stuff scheduled for that weekend. So, like, we have to figure out how and what we want to do and how we want to staff it and stuff.
That's why it matters. But PlayFusion's doing a good job so far. It's a nice little breath of fresh air is what it is.
And it's surprising because they're like a new entry to, this is their, they did Lightseekers, but they're like a year or two into the game, the card game. So I was very, very happy with that. And hopefully what we start seeing is the hype start rolling out with the spoilers. Yeah. And the cool thing with the app is that, like, those spoilers can be live.
They can be live. You can play with one new card for a week. Let's say, here's the thing.
What if they had put a new card in the app every day?
They could do that. They could show you.
You had to earn it.
They could, let's say they have the entire block of unreleased cards blacked out.
It's like those,
right?
those advent calendars or the Christmas calendar. What are those called?
Advent calendars.
Yeah.
It's like, so much fun.
Every day
I love
open, you get the little Kit Kat, and you go the next day.
It's perfect. I love them. You have your little list, and then let's say that you choose one at random. It flips up, and then you can play it for the next week. And then the community, kind of by randomly selecting, has to start to piece together what the set looks like. Maybe you only have like 10 cards that are randomly like put in people's collections. You can do some cool stuff. Sure. Now, I feel like they're about a year away from really exploring all of that insane territory.
Well,
I think they're getting the fundamentals. Getting the fundamentals down.
Yeah, we still. I saw them post in the retailer group on Facebook that the card printing for the OP kits got delayed, which is why they haven't shipped yet.
Yeah.
And they're going to get those out as soon as they can. So there's a lot that goes into this industry, and I get it. Like, especially a company like Asmodee has 1 billion games, so like they're probably just trying to keep getting products out the door.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a breath of fresh air to have that information that soon. So kudos to you, PlayFusion, for doing that. And please keep doing that because that makes it way easier for us to promote and build the communities.
It turns out your game's great. I can't stop playing it.
Yes, every time I check, Steven's
just
like
hit Platinum 1, yo.
Oh my. You didn't tell me about
One
that.
away from Diamond.
What's after Diamond? God?
Master.
Oh.
Yeah. God. Master and then God. Yeah. That's.
I feel like it's thematic.
At a certain point, if you rank high enough, you become a developer. That's not true, but can you imagine?
I was like, what?
It's like you get a job. Wouldn't that be cool?
Hey, all right, application accepted.
You're clearly good at this.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing about a developer designer, I don't know that the competitive players are normally the.
Well, they know what's broken.
They're good for that.
They're good for that.
See what's in their deck.
3 winners from our champion subscriber base. Thank you so much for being a subscriber to all of you, and we'll continue doing giveaways like these.
Did we say the names?
And no, not yet. And if you want to join the ranks, then please do. As we said, booster boxes, lowest price, free shipping. That's how you get in the door. And then we also, you don't have to put money down. You get automatically charged. You don't have to worry about release dates or anything like that. It generally shows up on release day a little time after. So, because we can't really say that because the UPS or USPS does weird stuff.
There's a lot of things. And one time I don't remember the game, but like the shipment we were receiving got affected by the hurricane that happened.
Yeah, that happens.
And it was just like...
Yeah, nothing to be done about that. Terrence O'Brien, Gavin Rapp, and Raul Lima. Yeah! Love seeing Raul on this. I've seen Raul's name all over.
All over what? The internet?
Has he been to the store?
I think that's a different Raul.
Oh.
There's a Texas version of Raul.
Texas version. Okay, well, good to know. So congrats, Raul, Gavin, and Terrence.
We will be in touch.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Or maybe not. Maybe
We'll
it'll
send you
show
some
up.
things. It'll probably just show up.
Yeah, I don't think we touch base at all. You just get them in the mail, so hopefully you're watching.
On that Champions note, there's this Necroquake
Might go with
thing.
it. Might go with the
I think you're good with that horde. I don't know. You might want to keep it out. Anytime you need that boost of energy.
Okay, force me to leave it.
So we have this thing. This is one of the weirder things. This Necroquake thing showed up on the Champions app. And I saw some rumblings about it on the various Facebook groups and people saying, like, put your Necroquake posts here, which I didn't
What is the
understand.
Necroquake?
I don't know. I still to
You
this
still
day
don't
I don't know. I clicked on the little banner on the app and it sent me to a thing where I could pay real money for a Necroquake bundle, which
you were
is like
gone.
playmats and card backs, and I was like, I don't need these playmats.
I wonder if it's like, pay your $5 or however much it is and get this stuff, but then also like unlock this like thing. Like this way of playing this campaign mode. They really should tell us.
I wish I knew, but maybe they're trying to keep it all secret. So if anybody knows about the Necroquake, please let me know what that is.
That's going to be the question at the end of the show, which is, if you've done the Necroquake,
what is
what is it?
Necroquake thing?
Just
or
kidding.
maybe at the end of it they say, like, don't tell anybody. It could be one of those things, like a chain letter. If you tell anybody, you're going to lose your 10
It's like
closest
Fight Club.
friends. Yeah.
You don't tell anybody about it, and that's how it just keeps growing.
Yeah, yet somehow it grew. And ultimately, the patches and champions have happened. So this is, again, kind of moving through the actual nuts and bolts of the testing / development process.
Orcs are just, from what I hear, completely balanced now.
Yeah, exactly. So they're trying out a couple of fixes to destruction.
Is that on here?
You got your symbol crash?
Nope.
And
what's a movie horn? I shouldn't test this out here.
I think it's like that. Do you have the Wilhelm scream on there too? Don't you? Oh, in a world, yeah, that kind of a thing. Anyway, they're trying out these changes on Champions, and it's essentially banning 2 cards from the game, and it's kind of helped, but they're still as good as ever. So
Gordrex still's a monster.
Yeah. So the next, I think they're in a real pickle because the Destruction faction, as a synergistic whole, taken together, is much greater than the sum of its parts. It compounds and stretches and compresses, not stretches, it compresses actions and compounds the advantage.
It stretches actions.
So well that there's a lot of pieces that are responsible for all of that working so well in harmony. So making it balanced for the first set is a fine thing to try to do, but I think we kind of have jumped that boat. And then when the second set hits, if there are more of those tools, that's when it could be a real problem. So I've got my eyes open.
Yeah, we'll see. And I'm curious too, they haven't said a peep about the future development plans, right? In terms of like, is the rotation, we haven't seen them have to ban cards officially, but it is cool, I think still, it's novel that they can test it out in the app.
Yeah.
And then make changes in the real world.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. If there was some kind of, Jonathan and I, not you and I looked at you and said, motion towards you. And
what were we talking about?
Everything I did indicated that it was you, but it was actually Jonathan. Was talking about ways that real life games can now, or should now, build in handicapping systems to the framework of the game on launch. Like KeyForge did this for the first time with chains. So like immediately out of the gate, if anything's too good, it can be chained up.
Yeah.
Similarly, and this is Jonathan's idea completely, but if let's say that you had for like God tier or something that has champions, let's say that every champion comes with a deck of cards, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3, whatever it is. And then based on the balance of that champion in play, it's like this champion now adds a 1 card to every roll. So like it gets +1 on all of its rolls.
Interesting.
Or -3 on all of its rolls if it's really good, right? So you could find ways where you can change the game out in the wild by pre-planning how you're going to do it whenever things inevitably go wrong.
Well, and technology is allowing for that, where everyone's got access to, not everyone, but everyone that plays these probably has access to phones and the internet and what's going on. So that's where I think with something like X-Wing and Destiny is a great example of the point cost of the main things in the game being completely digital. Huge.
It's helpful.
Like, that's a really big, it doesn't fix the cards like hyperspace jump, right? But like it gives you something.
Something to control.
Yeah,
that's helpful. I want to discuss 2 things, Zach, before we move on to the questions. I want to hear about Pokemon, of course, which I think is relevant. And then I want to talk about Transformers a little bit. I think we've recently found out, or at least the rumor mill is kicking around, they're not doing any organized play program at all.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So we had Wizards do the little kind of to Amazon, distributing directly through Amazon. We talked about a couple of weeks ago. And now we have Transformers that is kind of silent in the traditional hobby channels, just the marketing channels. And then it's also not doing an organized play program. And I think it's fascinating to watch this because this is one of the true kind of shifts, what I would consider a shift to mass market, or maybe more apt shift away from the hobby channel that a mainline game like this has done.
Well, as far as I know, there was a good amount of product that was supplied through the hobby channel.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily being cut off, but it's also been at Walmarts and Targets and basically just huge mass market push. But even with the mass market, all the booster packs are seemingly gone.
Yeah.
Like you can't get them and stuff, which is a great sign for the game. But I also wonder if, at least for Wizards, how much of it is organized play in their mind is Magic.
Yeah.
And the way Magic functions. And so you have Pro Tours and you've got these big pre-releases and these big events. It's a lot of work.
And they're basically saying Transformers isn't going to make the cash that it necessitates spending to do the same treatment.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So because even the first set, right, it's smaller. You only need two, one of most of the Transformers. And you just need less cards. So it's not going to be Magic, right? And maybe they're just admitting that this isn't for that audience and it's not meant to be huge, big tournaments. And of course, people in the hobby are into the game, so they're naturally asking questions about tournaments and events and organized play and stuff. But it could just be a concession that it's not going to be on that level. We're not aiming for it to be on that level.
Does that just move it into so how Transformers interacts with the traditional hobby market? There's a kind of the established paradigm of, you organize play and you have your weekly and your monthly and all that kind of stuff. By removing themselves from that equation, are they saying just play this game on the side? I mean, is that, I'm trying to figure out what what it means that there's no organized play going on.
Well, I think it was last week we were kind of talking about you can't stop the market.
Yeah.
Or the people, right? And so if there's enough interest in this, I think that there will be community-led events and organizations and league nights and all that kind of stuff. Because the reality is how much, and we've even been asking this question a lot lately in our local store, how much of organized play is actually driven by the mothership company and what they provide, and how much of it is just driven by providing a great space to play that's very welcoming and has the materials that you need to play and is comfortable and is a marketed gathering place for this game on this night kind of a thing. So it's just a fascinating time. It seems like a game that was put out, it's got the Transformers IP, and it's going to go right into mass market. And the goal is basically put it out, sell it, see what happens, make the next set, sell it, see what happens. And kind of, the hobby industry wants to take up the cup that can.
Yeah.
But
is that do you think that's the future? Do you think there is because there's a couple of ways this goes to me. Either publishers, and I think here specifically FFG level, because we usually are dealing with their games, at least historically. Are they going to dive more into organized play, which a lot of people want them to do? And, I read there was a So Long Netrunner article on Waypoint, which is a subsidiary of Vice, I think, talking about, and a lot of the content of that was about how FFG did a poor job of supporting the game. And that obviously comes from a place of expectation that organized play led by a publisher is a key part of the game. So there seems to be this big, hey, everybody needs to be investing more in organized play and keeping these scenes vibrant. And yet there's also this secondary thing that is now backed by actual action that's saying, we're just going to check completely out of it. Because why? Maybe we don't have any business there.
Sure. Well, I think part of that is I'm wondering if the market is now getting big enough that mainstream is viable in terms of because I've long at this point suspected that the vast majority of people buying and playing these games are not the people going to regionals, right?
Right.
If the average Destiny regional has 40, 50 people and there's 30 of those, it's there is way more than 1,000 or 1,500 Destiny players, right? Worlds gets 300 or 400 people, right? And so it's I'm confident that the pool of players is, a much bigger number than that. And so where are those people playing? And what does matter to them? And ultimately, like, are they just looking to enjoy a game and have a good time, or are they looking to like compete and earn and win stuff?
Yeah.
And so like, and there are also just games that are providing that. So maybe you don't need to provide it. And I think that's the only way you know is by trying it, right? So maybe this is a grand test for Wizards, which is all the stuff we're doing for Magic. Is that even necessary? Because we've run into that as well on our end, right? Where it's like we're doing all this effort. We used to do unboxing videos for every game we sold, and we'd unbox every product that came out, no matter when it came out, and it'd be up within a week of it coming out. And it became really unmanageable for us as an organization. And so, taking a look at it, it's like, well, are we actually still providing any value with this? Because at that point, a ton of people were unboxing a lot of the stuff that we were also unboxing. And then not only that, but then it was just like, hey, what is this doing for the community? What's it doing for us as a company? And so I half wonder if Wizards is asking the same question.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I agree. Maybe we'll revisit. Maybe we'll try to have somebody from Wizards on to talk about
That'd
this.
be cool. If
I'll
you
see
can
how you
get
make that happen. Good luck.
The other part of that is I might end the episode with asking that question. Some question related to that. So we'll see if we get there. The other thing, it mentioned Pokemon. I went on a rant before the show. I played recently with my niece. I played some Pokemon. She's of the age I was when I first started playing.
It was a rant, Zach. I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
It was a great rant.
So
You're sounding older than ever.
Yeah, right? Pokemon's a long-standing game. That's really how I got into the hobby. I got a Game Boy and a Game Boy Color. Started playing Pokemon. Or it wasn't a Game Boy Color.
Were you red or blue?
I was red.
Yeah.
Shocker, right? Tim was blue. Anyways, I played the Pokemon game, and then for one Christmas, my mom got me a Pokemon TCG starter and some booster packs. Had no idea what she was doing. Like it was.
Oh, didn't she?
She had no idea. Anyway, so then the rest is history. I'm here now. Like you can connect the dots. You can figure that one out. Yeah, thanks, Ma. But when I played Pokemon, this is what I was going on a rant about.
Yeah.
Because I was playing against my niece.
I remember those days.
The basics of the game. Start of the game, you put 6 cards over on the side from the top of your deck. Each time you defeat an opponent's Pokemon, you get one of those cards in your hand. When you're out of prizes, that's what they're called, you win the game. That's pretty simple. But the basic structure of it was you have basic Pokemon, like Charmander, who's the starting Pokemon.
Squirtle.
Yep, and they can evolve into, like, Charmander evolves into Charmeleon, a little stronger, a little more powerful.
Weirder looking, though.
Weirder
ultimately.
looking.
Yeah.
Charmander's kind of cute. Charmeleon's the teenage years.
Definitely the weird teenage years.
And then Charizard is the big dragon who spits fire and destroys things. But when I played, it was like this long effort. Like if you wanted to, when you got Charizard out, it was like, I did it. I'm proud, right?
So every game you had to start with your Charmander, and then you had to evolve it in the game during the game.
To Charmeleon, you play it on top of, right?
Yeah.
Then you had to get to Charizard and play it, and they had to stay alive. So like your opponent had time to like react and like maybe defeat the Pokemon before you leveled them up.
So you were expecting a classic, hard-fought game of Pokemon the card game.
And she also, so I was ultimately teaching her how to play because she hadn't played. She had been collecting them. She loves the little Pokemon, the little plushes, and the cards and all that stuff.
That makes it easy for you, huh?
Yeah.
Easiest uncle job ever.
Uncle Town is easy. But she built these decks. She watches these, it's crazy. She watches these YouTube channels that are amazing.
Like aimed at kids?
Aimed at kids who collect and play Pokemon.
Is it kids talking to kids, or is it like adults talking to kids?
It's a mix. It's a lot of times it's like adult with their kid kind of a thing.
Cool.
But she had built these decks, and so I draw my hand, and I'm looking. It looks about normal.
And you said, hey, this deck is inefficient and should be corrected. I'm not playing this game. You threw your cards across.
That's what I told her after the game. Yeah, no. But I drew the cards, and I was like, this is normal. So the first thing you do is you drop any number of Pokemon. You have an active and then a bench, and you can have up to 5 on your bench.
I love Pokemon.
But you can drop all your basics, right? So I'm like, all right, I got a basic and 2 face down, and you flip them over at the same time. So I'm sitting there. She flips over her main one, and it's Charizard. Charizard EX. And I'm like, what's an EX? And she's like, oh, well, like, you don't have to evolve them. You just get to start with Charizard. And I was like, what kind of youngster craziness? Like, talk about instant gratification. You have to work at this. Now, that said, I will say...
These children of the internet.
Yeah, it's just like, man.
Immediate search results.
When you defeat an EX, you do get 2 prizes. So they get to cheat a little bit. But it feels like back in the game using rare candy, where you just basically get to level them up for free. You don't have to go fight a lot to earn it. But then we were kind of talking. It was funny because it was like the game is mimicking a moment where 2 trainers run into each other and challenge each other.
Yeah.
And in the game, when you do that, you do the training on the side, which is how you evolve your Pokemon.
Which she seemed to have been doing.
Yeah, because you started with Charizard and wrecked my face in.
She's been watching those videos, man.
Yeah,
You don't stand a chance.
No.
She's got the strategies.
It was great. I think she thought I was going to be great because like my brother had built it up that like I used to play Pokemon all the time when I was a kid, and like
the greatest.
This is what I do
trainer
now, right? Is I play game like that's the perception is like, oh, Uncle Zach just gets to play games all day. Great.
Yeah.
And then she just wrecked me. And I was just like...
Well, you just weren't ready for Charizard. It was a meta that you were unprepared for.
Yeah.
I think she set you up for failure, to be honest with you.
Well, then it's really funny. So as I was leaving, she was like, well, maybe next time you could bring your own deck.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, challenge accepted, kid. Challenge accepted.
Welcome to the party. So you're playing Pokemon again. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was cool because I do have a lot of my old stuff. But anyways, it was cool to revisit an old classic like that.
Yeah, with a child. What could be more cool?
Anything else? I want to mention one last thing. We had a list of... We went slow. We got to get to this
that's what
stuff.
I mean. We've been kind of just meandering.
Dragon. So they also started actually telling us what was going to happen with X-Wing Organized Play. They had mentioned what they were going to do. They just didn't show it. So there's actually some pretty cool like metal little energy and shield tokens that they're doing.
Metal's good.
And then the full bleed alt art stuff they're doing is pretty cool, but nothing like mind-blowingly revolutionary. Spot gloss, alt arts, tokens.
So just a refinement of kind of the prizes.
But the coolest thing they are doing...
Spot glasses are great.
You may not know this. This is the coolest thing they're doing.
Okay.
So far.
Tell me.
So they're doing these wave kits. Wave kits come with 3 different supports for events, basically. So there's the launch event, which is you have to run the new stuff.
Only the new stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know the exact format. They're basically 3 different events with 3 different formats. Okay. Or you can run it more like a league, like we do, where it's over a 3 or 4 month period. But they're actually wanting you to track results over the course of this time period.
Okay.
And then there's prizes that only the top performing player across the whole thing gets. It's like the Wave Champion, Wave 1 Champion, Wave 2 Champion, which is cool. Okay. And they also have alt art promos that you're only supposed to get when you make your first purchase from that wave, from that retailer, which is cool. It's a cool nod for them to actually support the local retailer by saying, hey, you at least need to buy a ship wherever it is you're going to get this promo thing if you want the random card. No like in-game value in terms of like, you can still get that card, just a different looking version of it in the standard pack or whatever. So that was interesting. They're doing some things there that are new. Yeah.
I like to see movement on that front.
Yeah,
I very much dig that.
Any movement whatsoever.
I had my my 2nd year wedding anniversary this weekend, and I want to tell you something about that. Isn't that crazy? It's insane. I think 10 years from now, how old will I be? 10 years from now, I will be at 50% of my life having known my now wife.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's got to be sooner than that. Were you 20 when you met?
We've known each other for about 11 years right now, and I'm 31.
That's fair. That's weird to think about.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
I realized the other day that I've been out of school, not counting college, as long as I was in it.
Wow. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Huh. Anyways.
On that note, we watched Star is Born.
Oh, yes. Tell me about this.
Have you seen it?
No, I want to. The like Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper.
I mean, first of all, I think it's worth saying that I think it's a phenomenal thing. You need to watch it.
You need to see it.
You need to see it. Lady Gaga, great job. Bradley Cooper, great job. The score was worked on by Lucas Nelson, who is Willie Nelson's son. That's how I got turned on to him this past week.
Huh.
And he actually has a track that's backed by Lady Gaga and just really good. So it was fantastic. But I will issue you a warning because I wasn't ready for this. I thought it'd be, this is going to be a nice story.
Oh, it was intense, right?
Yeah, it was one of the more, maybe in recent memory, it's the most emotionally taxing movie that I've watched.
Have you seen Requiem for a Dream?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where's it rank?
I
Not
don't
like quality of movie, but like taxation.
I mean, like it's also up there for sure. But Star is Born has such a human feel to it. You lose the sense that you're watching a movie, which is a good sign. But then like the highs are so exceedingly high and the lows are so exceedingly low that like moving from that like level from high to low so dramatically over the course of the film, you come out and it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, I want to just go lay down in a dark room for an hour.
So this wasn't like happy anniversary. We just had a good time.
It turned out not to be, no. But we did appreciate each other more because, love,
stability and appreciation and stuff.
Yeah, and just the fact that one of us, well, no, I won't run anything. I won't say anything else about that. Did you do anything notable this weekend?
I like that you just got out of town.
You need to watch it.
Gone. I am going to watch it. It's on my list. What did I do this weekend?
Marriage going on?
Once Vader happened, it's just the rest is a blur, honestly. Probably most notable, I went to the weekend before the weekend Halloween party. I went to a Halloween party. I'm also going to one this weekend.
That's a good way to frame that.
I had some friends, and we've been meaning to go to one of their things.
Yeah.
And it just didn't ever happen.
Yeah.
And so finally it happened, so did that. And then have another Halloween party.
Did you dress up as something?
I did, yeah.
Where were you?
My wife and I were two blind mice. And we had a sign that was us basically looking for the third one. And we were holding it upside down, which was great. But I sketched out, it's like a missing sign, and I sketched it out and had the mouse on there and stuff. It was pretty funny.
Did you get that? Did you Google search that? Where is that?
The thing, it seems random, I know. So the thing was, it's funny, you're not going to believe me.
I'll believe you.
So for this coming weekend, what we are going as, my friend Matt has a big Halloween party, and we always go ham on the costumes, right? That's where, if you really want to look for it, there's a picture of me as Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it's pretty epically good.
And anyways, we go pretty ham. So with that party, she decided she wanted to be Darth Vader.
Oh, wow.
Randomly. Not really that random. I think because she thought I would want to be something Star Wars.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, if you're going to be Vader, what do I do? And then
Leia, for sure.
Leia is obviously the right answer.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I feel like you could
I could do Leia. I thought about being Leia Bond, which would be funny.
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. Anyways, what I actually ended up deciding to be was old Ben Kenobi.
Oh, good.
Because I'm going to get my hair white and do that whole thing. But
you're going to white your hair out?
Yeah. Awesome. Not permanent. That'd be great. Next week I just have white hair.
Yeah, just get really stressed.
Anyways, the point of that is that she called me one night. She's like, hey, I'm with my sister, and we happen to stop at this Halloween store because my sister needs something for something she's doing. And I saw these costumes. What do you think? And I was like, well, what are they? And I was like, two blind mice. And I was like, she sounded really excited about it. So I was like, well, we're being Vader and Obi-Wan over here. Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy. Whatever. But it's they have the mouse ears and the glasses and the whiskers and stuff, and then you have the stick, the walking stick. It was pretty funny.
That's great. Yeah, that's a good costume.
Yeah, so we had a good time.
All right, fair enough.
That was my most notable thing.
Well,
was a mouse.
Let's move on to some questions about particularly tabletop gaming, I presume. Hashtag askcovenant is the hashtag you can use on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and please do because we love fielding these questions. And we're going to kick it off with Michael Dolan because it's a question we actually already answered. So we'll read it, and then we won't answer it because I think it's already been.
And we'll say, hey, reference the earlier part of the podcast.
Interesting that Wizards aren't bothering with organized play for Transformers, but also understandable. It's not like they need a magic killer, not worth draining the resources, I guess. If you never run OP, you immediately do away with the need for rotation, restricted lists, errata, etc. A lot of work you suddenly don't have to do. Just print all the cards and forget about them, which is pretty fascinating. If you wrap all of organized play into the fact that if something's super powerful, people figure out what to do about it, I guess that's true.
Yeah, and
no management whatsoever.
One other note on that too, just thinking about it, is I know that there are a lot of, for Magic at least, a ton of independent organizations that run things. I think Star City Games is a popular one. Mm-hmm. But they do these independent tournaments, right? And it's again, maybe it's if there's a demand for this, someone will do it.
Yeah.
And we don't need to be involved. It just doesn't need to be us.
This could be the future, couldn't it?
I think so.
Can't take note. Yeah. Moving on, Sion Fisago asks, Covenant, my friends and I have recently gotten into Destiny within the last few months, and we love it. Great to hear. Found a 2-player starter set at Goodwill, which is amazing. Happy about that.
I saw someone post about Goodwill starter sets, a stack of them.
Oh, okay.
And it was a stack of 10 of the starter sets, and they were $3 each.
Wow.
I'd pay $6 for 2 of those.
That's pretty cool. I've been collecting and watching your videos ever since. Great. One problem we've run into is that every game store we've called does not stock Destiny, and not for lack of trying. They've all had the same problem with setting up distribution with FFG because they weren't there from the beginning with the overall community seemingly petering out, or not maybe, doesn't this seem like a pretty bad move on their part? We can easily order stuff online and have already ordered stuff from you guys. Well, that's great. Thank you, Sam.
Hold on.
Perfect. But we would love to connect with people who love this game too and kind of get that game store experience. Any thoughts or even tips are very appreciated. And this does get back to the value of the local scene, man. It is valuable. Like if it's done well, especially, it's incredibly valuable.
Yeah,
Assuming you're running into problems with setting up distribution with FFG, which is, I don't know. It seems I've not really heard that.
I'm surprised by that. I did not think Destiny anymore had supply issues. I think if you have your standard, pretty much every major distributor has the product.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, wait, no, they don't. Don't they have the exclusive, the major distributors? They're only
it
going
is
through
an
Alliance. Yeah.
So you got to be set up with Alliance.
It could be an Alliance thing.
But the thing about it is, like, as far as I know, with the past couple of sets, they're available. Mm-hmm. And so this may not be the case, but it sounds like maybe there was trouble up front, and then now you can get it, but they just haven't tried again.
Maybe they haven't tried, yeah.
So that's kind of a bummer. But if there's not a local community there, then that's not helpful either, really.
That's not helpful at all. Not helpful at all. So hopefully that gets sorted. Anyone else having those issues, let us know. I'd like to know if that's actually a
real
long-standing
thing.
It seems like maybe getting set up with Alliance would be the problem. Like maybe you don't order enough, or like I know there's some problems with that sometimes. So
yeah. Well, and again, it could have been a problem up front.
Yeah.
And they just never revisited.
Yeah. And then finally, Justin A. asked Kevin, I know Zach had mentioned several times on the cast about wanting to give KeyForge decks to friends and family members. Is he a liar? That's not actually the question. Sorry. What is your plan of attack? What is your plan of attack with teaching a card game to a non-card game player and maybe a non-gamer period? I'm glad you're asking this question, Justin, because we all need to be asking this question. Do you plan on just sitting down with random decks or using the preset common decks from the starter? Do you start with a full game or play a simplified version? We'd love to hear thoughts and plan of attack.
So first off, I believe this is the same Justin A. who has been gifting our Facebook post like a magician.
Religiously.
Amazingly.
Yeah, a lot of those.
Some hilarious gifts,
particularly
particularly
from the old school too.
There's one where I'm clapping and there's like things happening. It's hilarious. Anyways, so if that is you, thank you for doing it. I appreciate the comedy every time I now go to our Facebook page. But I think the thing for me is we've been teaching games for a long time, and I've introduced a lot of people to various different games or just demoed it working in the store and stuff. And so for me, it's always like a 30-second thematic pitch about what the universe is and what's going on quickly, followed by how you win the game, because that gives everything else in the game context. And then as someone who doesn't like reading rules or being explained something over and over again before you actually do it, I just dive right in. So I walk through a turn, we do it, they take their turn, we'll help each other out.
Hidden hands? You have your hands up?
A mixture. It's not like specifically hidden, but it's also not just like, hey, let's play face up. Because the other thing is, particularly when I'm teaching, and we could probably do a whole series on teaching, but I don't like, I've noticed it's not productive when you tell someone how to play. And like, oh, this cool move can happen because this, that, this, and this.
Yeah, look at this. Yeah, it's no good.
Allowing them to discover it is the best way for them to actually learn. So just being patient and walking them through a turn or two and then just playing seems to be just how I approach anybody teaching.
With KeyForge in particular, I think one of the key concepts to get across is that this is a racing game. We're racing to get to collect these amber things so that we can forge keys. Whoever forges the 3 keys wins. I think it's important to set out the win condition up front, pretty much always. And then what I like to do is, have some creatures and an artifact out on both sides of the table. And I'm the opposite of you, so I like to kind of understand the fundamentals before I even try to make a decision. So I'm better at teaching people on that side of the spectrum. Which is not you, which is why I don't teach you games. You just kind of flail around and I correct you on the rules.
It's still happening to this day.
But with KeyForge, I think one of the key things to do is to show what reaping is. That when a creature during your turn can turn sideways or tap to reap, and that will gain you 1 amber, and that's the primary way that you gain amber in the game. And then you frame that as, and then creatures can also do something else, which is attack, so that they can turn off the ability of your opponent to gain amber through reaping. If you can frame that idea of this game is about, I put stuff out so that it can reap, or so that it can kill the other stuff on the board so that it can't reap, that helps to understand how we collect amber and how this race is going to take place. I think going in not really knowing that your stuff can get wiped off the board can be a problem. You have to play this cool thing and then it's like, oh, you just killed it. That sucks. And so really just kind of explaining that element of the game is a key point.
And I definitely think a lot of times I will show examples of each kind of card and kind of how they function like that before we just fully dive in. But, in that case too, I think a lot of times there's a couple of things where, like, I don't like to pull punches intentionally because then my opponent will start thinking that whatever I'm doing is how you're supposed to approach whatever's going on.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're playing against someone and they're new, they mimic. So whatever you did on your last turn, maybe they'll do on their turn.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, you're talking about you can reap and you can gain stuff and you can, like, get rid of your opponent's things that can do it in this way. And for me, it's like going back to that discovery element where it's like the moment I realize that I can kill your thing and stop you from doing it, or you attack mine and do it. Now, what I wouldn't do to my new opponent, and this is this kind of thing when I mean pull your punches, is like they get something happening and going, and then you just like play the card that wipes their board.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do that until much later in the game.
Definitely.
I might, in this game, you would just discard it instead of playing it or whatever. Because for me, the goal of the first game is to experience it. Just to basically walk through a functioning turn, intentionally making just, like, they're going to make mistakes and not being, that was the other thing, is like, don't correct it. Be like, oh, well, you should have done this.
Yeah.
Not productive at all. Like,
just
let them, whatever you do explain, let them play. Because that's the game. Like, you're playing the game. And have a good time. And that's really about it. And be comfortable and, have snacks or drinks or food or whatever you want and just have a good time with it.
So like it's a game. It's really fun. It's pretty quick. And
fortunately, with KeyForge, that was the other thing, is like when you're teaching a simple game, this process is way easier.
Yeah.
Like if it's
no resource cost helps. And choosing, like, you choose the faction that you can play that round and
down
you
to
can
two
only
options.
do those things.
Yeah.
I think that's really strong.
Yeah, it's a great game for it. So I'm not nervous to teach non-gamers whatsoever for this game. And, the easiest thing you can do to them is send a link to our learning series.
Boom.
And call it a
We're
day.
here
We'll
for
teach them
you.
for it.
That's why we do it.
And that's actually
try to make it easier.
Pretty useful because they can watch it at home or on the lunch break or whatever. And then by the time they're actually playing the game, that's part of why we create these series. By the time they show up to you, they already have a big head start. And I understand. Because watching, that's another way of teaching, is like watching play as well. That's like when we do our live streams or videos. But even if you have enough people there where the new person can watch it in action before they actually, because I know a lot of people get nervous about that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to make a mistake or like not understand it or look stupid. So if they can just watch it, it's like, oh, I can do this. This is just how this goes. So that's some advice there. You got a question?
Good advice. Can somebody tell me what the Necroquake is in Champions? It's that important. I don't know what it is, and it's bothering me. So if you could do that, just leave a hashtag askcovenant with what this Necroquake thing is for Champions so that I can selfishly be in the know about this. We appreciate all of your time and you listening. Zach, you got anything else? Well, until next time, then keep playing.